following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Topic Time with Harrison Young. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Topic Time with Harrison Young. It is now late January. It's kind of cold out. I have a show to Missouri tonight. I don't know if it's closer to Kansas City or St. Louis. I had a show to St. Louis a few months ago. The guy's name is Reverend SS. We're going to find out all about him. But of course, before we get to him, got to read these incredible underwriters, and then we will commence per usual. We got a few tonight. So we got Personal Best Karate right in Easton and Southeastern. We got Crazy Axe's Rec Center in Hanover. We got A1's Tire and Auto Center in Brockton, always in search of new service writers and tax. And even if you don't know how to do it, send someone by that does. We have Glow Tanning Center in Taunton. They're a new one. We have the Auto Shop in Hanover. Thanks, great mechanic Ed Rooney. We have Genuine's Inspection in Middleborough. We have Revived Beauty Lounge in Hanover. They're a new one. We have C&J Auto Body Auto Glass Towing in Stoughton. We have One Good Credit in Brockton. We have good old Dave's Automotive in Hanson on Route 58. We have Sheer Irony Hair Design here in Easton. They're a new one. We have Tom Auto in Middleborough. We have the Clock Shop in Hanover. They're a new one. We have Boombox in Middleborough. We have Carver Jewelers, Ronald Aaron Lyle Delano Goldsmiths. We have Comfort Upholstery in East Bridgewater. We have Lynch's Towing Auto Cycle and Truck Center in Brockton. One number for towing, one number for projects. Lynchy's always in search of, my pal Lynchy's in search of transportation, scrap metal, anything to do with wheels. He does it all in Brockton. We have Pal's Driving School in Middleborough, now setting up classes for February, April, and June. Check the website for that. We have Eli's Auto Care in Taunton. We have Bulldog Sports Cards in Middleborough. We have Pembroke Radiator in Pembroke. We have New England Floorscapes in Middleborough. We have Salon Giovanni in Marshfield. We have Kingston Auto Body in Kingston. We have Easton Fitness in the Village Shops in Northeastern. We have Doggy Boutique, all-breed professional grooming for dogs and cats, run by my great next-door neighbor, Debbie Siddell in Brockton. We have the Gunrunner LLC, a Second Amendment Freedom Store in Middleborough. We have RW Carpet and Flooring in Norton, covering floors for 50 years. We have DNS Auto Works and Collision Specialists in Abington on Route 58. We have the Rug Resort in Easton, Northeastern, cleaning today for a healthier tomorrow. We have Grant's Rental in Bridgewater, and we have Joe's Diner in Taunton. And I want to thank you guys very much. And now on that note, I will introduce the Reverend SS. What does that stand for?
Shit stain, believe it or not.
I believe it.
Apologies.
Okay,
Apologies for the early swear. That's the one time I'll say it. It goes back to a bit of a running gag on an internet forum and show I perform on, and I occasionally get into a character named the Reverend SS, who is a bit of a Southern Baptist preacher. However, he replaces the good word of the good book with the good turd that comes from the inside. It's a long story. I won't go too far into it, but yeah, that's how I got that moniker.
Well, okay. Well, yeah, except we want to, I mean, he's having a drag on a butt there. But we want to make sure that we profile you effectively, though, even though I understand what you're saying. So, well,
Yes.
you look very official there. You look like you look kind of like a dictator with with a hippie agenda. That's what I would say.
Well, I appreciate that. No, I'm just a guy who likes to have fun on the internet, and I happen to run in a circle of other guys who happen to have fun on the internet. And I'm a fan of WATP, and you had Carl Hamburger on close to like 2 years ago now. I think.
Not that long ago, but it was over a year ago. It was January. Yeah. January. It was my first show of 2023, January 4th of 2023 at my Area 58 location in Carver, Mass.
Over a year ago then.
This is my ECAT location in Easton, Mass. This is one of three, and they're all great locations, and the people, all the stations are awesome. And okay, well, I mean, so what part of it? Are you close to Kansas City? You sound like
I'm closer to Kansas City. Yeah, I live in Little Dixie. I'm in the most northern part of the South, baby.
I got you. So you're on the Mason side of the Mason-Dixon line, or the Dixon.
Yeah, you can say.
Okay,
you can say that, something like that. I'm right around that area.
Well, no, look, I just want you to know that I'm totally unopinionated when it comes to, I'm not totally unopinionated, but everyone has a right in my show to express their opinions about whatever they want to talk about. Now, I notice you have a Confederate flag on the wall, and that's fine.
Yes.
I know that.
It's state heritage. Yes.
Okay. I understand. Okay. And that's, and I mean, that's not, I mean, I'm not condoning it or I'm not condemning it. All I'm saying is it's your house. It looks good. It's pretty. I know
Well,
what it represents is what you want it to represent, and that's it. And that's it. I'm leaving it at that.
The other half of the flag, it's actually a half flag. The other half is the state of Missouri seal. It's just, the state fought for the Confederacy at one point. It's
yeah, I know
state
that.
heritage.
I know a lot of the states. Hey, half the states did. I mean, I know that's the history of the whole deal. So I understand that.
Yep.
Okay. So I just wanted to, I mentioned it. I know that. I just didn't want anyone to say that I said, oh, you got a Confederate flag. Let's get you on the show.
My views are my own and not of Mr. Harrison Young's.
That's right. I mean, exactly true. Okay. Well, all right. Tell me about yourself as a kid. You don't look too old. You look about 30-ish, I'd say, if that.
Well, you're pinging me right around the right area. I won't give my exact age or anything like that. But yeah, I am a bit of a young buck in this kind of sphere. I know a lot of the people that would partake in the podcasting realm that have come on here are in their like 40s and the such. So I'm not that young, but I am young in comparison.
Right. Well, I mean, I get that you're a precocious guy, and you probably always were, even as a kid. I'm sensing, right?
Yeah, I've always been in this kind of circle of online tomfoolery and trolling and such like that. So
there's nothing better to do on tomfoolery online, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly.
I can't think anything better you can do online than tomfoolery.
Just a bit of chain yanking.
All right. So tell me about your childhood, though. Did you grow up in the area where you live now?
I grew up not in quite the area I live now. I grew up a little bit closer towards Kansas City in the metro area.
Okay,
and,
but it's state of Missouri.
Yeah. State of Missouri, and it's a lovely little area. Aside from the people that live there and the government that rules it, I have my own things to say about Quentin Lucas and the likes of him. Thankfully, I'm no longer living under his rule.
Okay, well, hold up a second. Was he the governor of Missouri? Is that who he was for a while? Or
no, Mr. Quentin Lucas is the current mayor of Kansas City, and he is de facto probably the third most powerful politician in Kansas City as a whole, or in Missouri as a whole, rather. And he is a scumbag snake in the grass.
Okay.
But I won't say too much on your show.
No, I understand. Well, listen, I'm glad you're expressing your opinions, because I want people to express their opinions. They have a right to do that, and you're not hurting anybody. Let me ask you this: Have you ever considered or actually done so, run for political office?
I dream to, in the near future. I would love to begin in local elections and work my way up, because I really don't enjoy the way that the country is being run, and locally things are being run, and state-wise. I mean, even where I'm at in Bum, Missouri, in a very small town, not the smallest town of all Missouri, because they get down to like 15 people. We're just over 1,000,
Yeah.
And even here, all they're installing currently fiber lines for fiber internet, and all the jobs for those people doing it are illegal immigrants, and they're coming from south of the border, and they're not all Mexican or anything like that either. I've seen some of them that are Middle Eastern, some of them that are Slavic, but they're all coming across here, and we didn't get offered any of those jobs. We didn't get offered any of those opportunities. These people don't speak English. They've destroyed like 6 water lines here. They destroyed my gas line. They screwed up my driveway and a neighbor's driveway. They've done this all across the town, and the town's hands are tied because of things that are being run in the metro system, because we're just on the edge of the metro. The metro extends quite a ways, like over an hour out of Kansas City. So there's a lot of things wrong in the area.
I understand. Would I be correct in classifying you as a highly personable right-wingist, I guess you could say?
I would place myself more in a third position. I don't ascribe to conservatism or to liberalism necessarily. Okay. I believe more in a rebirth of the political system, you might say, in a way. Okay. Not in any kind of extreme order like that, but I do think that the way that things are run in the United States and in much of the Western world is kind of collapsing and needs to be reformed, lest something much worse happen.
Well, what do you think? I guess I'm kind of getting that you're not too fond of any of the candidates running for political offices nationwide, aside from your own area.
I voted for Donald Trump, multiple times, and I mean,
we only ran once. Oh, that's right, you ran twice. So you voted
he ran twice. I would say he won twice too, but there's issues in that too. I was more naive at the time. I would say I've been certainly more eye-opened in the last 4 years. I've black-pilled, as some might say, depressingly so. But no, I think that the whole system is a bit of a charade and a scam, and I think that the hypocrisy of it all on the rank face of it is disgusting. And I wish that, well, actually, I see more people day to day in my life that don't use the internet habitually like I do and get into news and politics hardcore. A lot of, average Joe Schmo American that's getting woken up to my kind of politics, wanting a massive reform or change up of the system and seeing that things are going wrong. There's a lot of anti-war rising up. A lot of people that were ho-gun on Ukraine are now completely anti that. A lot of people that I know that are even evangelical, hardcore Christians are flip-flopping on Israel. And that's something I wouldn't think I ever would have seen in my lifetime, certainly, given how deep the evangelical lobby is in the United States. And even here in my little small town of 1,000 people, I'm seeing that. So that must say that something is changing in the U.S., right?
Okay. Well, how would you? Well, then, now that you just expressed this opinion, what would you do to reform it? Would you have any idea? Do you have a vision of any kind or any visions?
I want to see the American people open their eyes to what's really going on in the U.S. The internet is there. Anybody with 30 minutes of their time a day can open up Telegram, for instance. That's where I run my network. I have about 11,000 people that look at my stuff hourly. I post on there. I get a lot of views. I have a lot of connections with international people.
Okay.
We're at the point now where the average American can access news as it happens and information and statistics as they occur.
No question.
Without
it's on
having
your phone every hour.
exactly.
Exactly.
Without it needing to be filtered through an intelligence agency masquerading as a news outlet such as CNN, Fox News, MSNBC.
Okay.
You don't have to get it through your propaganda glasses anymore. You can just look at it yourself and you can make your own opinions that you don't have to necessarily line up with my own. But when you see that the system is rigged and that things aren't necessarily like how they're supposed to be, a liberal democracy in America, things might change. And while we still have the opportunity to vote, I would like to see people vote in more candidates a la Rand Paul, Ron Paul, people who just want to get America out of their global empire, to stop bombing countries just for resources or to, just show off that we can. I would like to see a focus on the homeless problem and the drug epidemic in the United States, as for instance in San Francisco. And
yes, I know that's pretty rough there.
They cleaned it up there when the Chinese Communist Party and some people from around the world and big business came and visited. And they outright said, yeah, we cleaned up the streets of the homeless and drugs and the human feces on the sidewalks because we had these world leaders coming. But they won't do it for the regular United States citizen. I have my own feelings on that, why they do that. I'm not sure if we have enough time to delve into that, as long as I'm rambling already.
No, that's okay. No, but you're on a roll with points and stuff. Would you ever think of perhaps starting your own news network? You'd probably be good.
That's kind of what I do on Telegram already.
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah.
It's mostly focused around geopolitics and the like that.
But how do you go about news gathering? What do you do? Do you have people under you that help you? Or do you do it by yourself?
No, sir. I on Telegram, like I keep mentioning, and because I grew up on the internet, on websites like 4chan and the like. I know where to find news as it happens, and we now have access to these extremely powerful translation tools where you can translate in real time people talking and text and make it accurate, so you can see news from around the world. And I keep bringing it up, and I guess I just have to drill the point home. Telegram, it's an international uncensored network that you can download on telegram.org. It's based in Russia, but they don't have the censorship. They don't have the same laws that we do in the United States regarding political stuff and whatever can be shared. And so they encourage dissent among U.S. politics and stuff like that, and Russian politics. But people around the world will share.
These people in Russia couldn't be allied with Putin. Could they? Putin. That sounds even better.
I don't think that Putin is that bad of a guy. He's overwhelmingly positively taken in the not in the United States, rather I almost said Soviet Union.
Wow.
My apologies. He's like 80% positive rating in Russia. People love him, and that's mostly because what the U.S. and European Union keep doing. They keep, the whole Ukraine situation was totally avoidable. They never even had to go to war with any of that. And there was multiple peace deals that came up. And the United States through Blinken and the United Kingdom through Boris Johnson sabotaged those peace deals, and it's been forcing these Ukrainian men to die for no other reason than to try and follow some kind of insane rabbit hole goal of overthrowing Putin through a color revolution. like the CIA has done so many times throughout the world,
Okay.
by trying to, we're going to kill all these Russians through the war, and that'll make them overthrow Putin. And once they overthrow Putin, we'll be able to balkanize Russia and take all the resources out in the Far East, and then be able to strike at China through the north. And I don't think that ever happened. But no, to go back to what I was saying, I don't think that the Russians on Telegram are necessarily aligned with Putin or any of the intelligence agencies. I just think that it's important to use outlets wherever they may be if they don't promote censorship, like Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and the like. They all work hand under the table with the United States government and other just open big business and the like to censor the average American citizen. And news that you would like to get is deplatformed. It is deaggregated. It will be pushed underneath an algorithm full of whatever, be it celebrity news or outright propaganda. And when you can access the real stuff at the, drop of a hat,
yeah,
it's much easier that way. And it's international news from people on the ground that are really there. You can see stuff from people in Ukraine and Russia fighting on both sides. They post their stuff. The people from Israel and Palestine, they post their stuff, and you're getting international takes. Many foreign governments have their like outlets and state news on Telegram, and you can see what the rest of the world thinks about the U.S. And boy, it's not very pretty.
No, I know it isn't. Well, have you? Let me think. Let me see. Have you?
And I apologize for rambling so much.
No. I'm glad you're rambling. I'm glad you're rambling. Well, let's see. When I watch the news, and oftentimes it is pretty fluffy, I guess, and sometimes they can't help but think that that's kind of like a shield for all the real stuff going on. Did you go to college at all? And if you did,
I went for 1 semester in university. I went to college to complete some certificates for things I already knew how to do, like building computers and network security.
Okay.
But I needed certificates to say I could do that. But I went to university for 1 semester.
What university? Kansas?
I'd rather not.
I don't want to say. Okay.
I'd rather not say, just because I don't want to put too much of myself out there. But I've already said where I'm at generally, so you can probably figure it out.
Oh no, that's okay. Listen, I understand.
No. I was going there for political theory and all that stuff, just so I could try and get my foot in the door for politics in Kansas City and the like. But my first thing on advanced U.S. culture and political science through the 1900s it was 1910 to 1950. My first assignment was to read up on women's fashion and flappers and how it liberated them from the ho-hum patriarchy. And I was just like, you know what? This is not going to go well. This is a scam. So me and my buddy, my homeboy Carlos, we just hung out. We kickboxed. We, played some soccer and stuff. We just chilled the whole semester and used up our food budget, because that whole thing was, the university system's a joke, man. I did all my schooling, all my free time I do, if I'm not, playing video games or hanging out with my dog or, going out with my friends or something like that, I'm reading. I just do reading on political theory, economics, world history. I have PDFs and audiobooks on my computer. I've got a whole set of books over there by my stack of vinyl records and my shelves and stuff like that. I'm a natural learner. That's my whole thing.
Have you ever written a book yourself or considered it?
I've considered it multiple times. I'm actually in the middle of writing one on Pure Land Buddhism, the monk of Gold Mountain. That's a whole rabbit hole to go down. I won't delve too much into that, but I am. Yes.
Okay, you're writing a book, and is it going to be like, is it going to be choreographed in real life, or is
it follows? It's a biography patchwork of what we know, mainly through English sources and translated Chinese sources, of a man who was a so-called bodhisattva reincarnated, or a living Buddha here on Earth in Republican-era China. And he did some crazy things, such as jumping off a 29-story pagoda, landing on his head, and being like, "Yeah, all right," or at least so people say. There's a whole lot of stories about him, and I figured it might be fun to catalog it, because there's never been one in English. And even if a lot of people don't buy it, I think it'd be a nice little thing to do for myself. Get my mind out of politics.
This is a true. This guy's a true. This bodhisattva. He's a true deal. He's somebody that really did that. Jumped 29 stories on his head, and then he's.
That's what they say.
Okay.
That's what they say.
I mean, I'm
just the power of believing in, I'm Amida Buddha. If you just, chant Ami Tofu, Ami Tofu, Ami Tofu, you just keep chanting it. And
I eat tofu every day. I love tofu. You heard that, right?
Tofu is delicious. Oh yeah, I love
Yeah.
tofu. I'm an Asian food connoisseur. You might be able to tell I've got some stuff up there. A
Well,
bit of a culture guy when it comes to Asia.
I'm a vegan. Well, listen, so I'm glad I asked you about college, and I'm glad you brought it up because, quite frankly, looking back on my college experience, now I went to a couple of colleges. I actually did three because I wrote a book too in the '90s, and that was published by a guy that had a printing press at his own school in the area around here.
Right on.
But I found that the kids were all spending their parents' money just to be jerks and and party and create, and they didn't seem to care about learning or anything and being educated. And I'm not knocking the school, although the school could have done more for me too, because my father paid $4,000 for me to do to do 1 year at this college, I believe. And I was a transfer student from another college, and they had an opportunity back in the spring of 1989 to do an internship with one of the speaking of the news stations. We had a news station, Channel 56 I think we have it still. I don't think we have the 10 o'clock news there anymore, but we had the opportunity, students had the opportunity that were in communications, as was I, to do an internship in the spring of 1989. But because I was a transfer student, they wouldn't allow me to do it. And I felt that rule was really pathetic because I had nothing, at least as much knowledge of news gathering and experience as any one of the other kids did at the school. As long as we're expressing opinions about school, I'll just tell you that's mine.
I think there's a big problem with the culture in America. The United States universities have exploited the fact that everybody said, well, if you go to university and you can get a real job, you can get into big business, you can make real money. And they exploited that fact that over time, government loans became a real big thing. They just raised tuitions arbitrarily. And wages haven't grown since the mid 80s. Everything's been completely stagnant when you count for inflation. The only ones making profits are the universities and the businesses that prop it up. You're just getting a piece of paper. I mean, the real big businesses like J.P. Morgan and all, Cerner, they don't even look for people with degrees necessarily. They want to see if you have work experience, or they want to see if you can pass certificate programs or tests that they'll put out for you. And if you can, then who cares? Because there's university graduates are a dime a dozen these days, and most of them just went to say, oh, I have it, because they thought it was going to be an easy ride because of BS that they were taught by their parents and the system and culture that we had through the 90s and early 2000s and up until the 2010s. And then all that really started to burst. I think I am the last generation of people in America that will fall for that scam. I think the Gen Alpha and the Zoomers are just not going to care about colleges. You're going to see all these prestigious universities collapse under their own weight, and they're going to be exposed for what they are, which is just diploma mills. There's no reason to go to universities unless you're going to be like a high-level medical doctor or something like that, or it's completely out of your reach where you are, because the internet is here and you can see all these lectures and read all these books for free. So why pay?
do you have anyone that you want to emulate or idolize or not? I'm looking at you.
Stuttering John Melendez.
Okay.
Not really. Well, I wish I could get some super chats like Stuttering John Melendez, just drinking beer. I got one right here, but
okay. All right. So
no, if I could emulate anybody, maybe Huey Long. That'd be nice. I'd like to emulate Huey Long.
Who is Huey Long again? I should know.
The Kingfish. He's the governor of Louisiana.
Oh,
He's going to go up against FDR, and then he got shot to death.
Yeah. That was. I know it was like
circumstances.
Like about in the 60s, right? Or
the 30s, the 1930s.
Yeah, I know it was a long time ago.
I agree very much with the Share the Wealth program. I think that there should be a cap on all that kind of stuff, and that we should be more into social services and propping up the country with positive nationalism and helping your fellow man, every man a king, rather than insane income tax and allowing people to have at the top billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Well, I agree. So basically, you're down on the inequity of the country. Basically, there's so many. The people that there's such a small percentage of haves and such a large percentage of have-nots. And the
equity has become a dirty word, but the inequality of the country, absolutely. The inequality is asinine. There's never been a more unequal society aside from maybe Thailand, where the king owns 95% of everything just because he can. But here, the 1% of the 1%, we used to have marches about this kind of thing before it got co-opted by race relations stuff.
You'd probably be a pretty good professor yourself at some college, and you could.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
Would you ever, well, have you ever looked into teaching it? I mean, I know you're down on a lot of the schools, but
I don't think I'd ever be accepted in because I am I don't roll with that kind of thing, man. I'm very anti-war. I have my own opinions about a lot of stuff that are very nuanced, that would take a lot of time to explain to people, that they would rather just call me bad man or good man and then go watch TV.
I understand.
So
Well,
I don't think I would make it in that world. Plus, I'm very argumentative and combative with intellectual types, and I am myself one. And there's a lot of people like me like that. I love debating. So.
well, you're easy. Well, I'll tell you what, you made it easy for me to converse with you because you have so much to say, and that's phenomenal.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Young. It's been very nice talking with you. I hope that we still have some time left, do we?
Well, actually, we have under 5 minutes. That's what I wanted to let you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we still have a couple minutes. Can I harp on Stuttering John? Because I completely skipped on my time on Stuttering John talking politics. And thank you very much for letting me talk politics for a little bit.
No problem. Go for it.
I find that very nice. Yes. So Stuttering John, the reason why I harp on Stuttering John so much and make fun of him is because I see him as a character in a game that we're all playing. He is a man who, under any other circumstances, would be Stuttering John, the slow adult working as a janitor at Wendy's or something like that. But because he got lucky in New York City, and he had a speech impediment, which isn't real. He faked a speech impediment as sort of a gimmick because he wanted to get an in. He got lucky. He is the embodiment of the American dream and the American nightmare. What you're seeing live on air is a man who, through his personality defects, through his toxicity born into himself and that is bred into the culture of the United States of celebrity worship and fame, you're seeing a man who had it all, literally a multimillionaire, had millions of dollars in the bank, had a house in the Hollywood Hills, had a wife, 3 kids who ostensibly loved him, although I think that that's not true whatsoever. But he has turned all that into drinking 20 tall boy cans a night of light, cheapest beer you can find, Coors, Michelob, whatever. Well, actually, no, he hates Michelob, I think, but whatever. Just cheap trash beer. He yells into a camera for people that hate him and troll him for cheap yucks for $2 a pop. He lives in a delusional lie all around himself, and I think that it's important to look at it from the outside and just say, this is the average American person. He is a whack job who can somehow, though, wrangle on people connected to the White House, senators, Congress people, Army majors, and they don't see that he's a drunk, loser, crazy person. Somehow these senators, Congress people, and all these famous types, they're exactly the same as him. They all believe these insane lies. They propagate insanity. They all get drunk on air, and they get yelled at and yell at 200, 300 people at a time on YouTube for $2 a pop, despite being rich as hell and powerful. What is going on in this country?
I know. Well, Reverend, you did a great job with me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Young.
I'm gonna ask a couple of things. First of all, when we wrap the show up, you let my tech guy take a pic, and I'll post it on Facebook of us.
Absolutely, I'd be honored.
I know you're not on Facebook, but we can still. I'll still say. And then I'm going to make sure that you want what you have what you want on the graphics will be right. And before we do that, and on that note, we're ready to wrap it up. You ready to snap a one like we did at the beginning?
Absolutely, I'd
snap
love
away
to.
like we did at the beginning. All right, folks, we're wrapping up another great episode of Topic Time. See you next time. Have a great one. Take care. Rolling on and spanning on out as usual.